All right, guys. Hi. I am so excited to be back with Ryan Walker. Those of you who've been following our work together over the last few years know us as the experts who teach how to self-adjust. And so we used to do this through what we call the blueprint, where you can become kind of your own chiropractor, massage therapist, physical therapist, rolled into one, personal trainer, all at home without forking out dollar after dollar for all these other people to do it for you. And so I'm really excited because over the last several years, Ryan has taken a step back and really redeveloped and developed a lot of new stuff and redid everything. And I just want him to be able to have the space to share with you guys what's available now, because it is so cost effective and just a really great platform. And so that's what I wanted to come on and share. So Ryan, would you mind just sharing, for those who maybe are new, your background in this work, and then maybe what is up with the rebrand and the new system?
Yeah, so I was a total gym rat from a very young age. Started with bodybuilding and powerlifting, and so just was just fixated in that world. Then eventually found myself getting a lot more passionate about kind of the deeper mechanics behind movement, and went and became a licensed massage therapist back in 2017 and started learning about all the different fascial lines. So the way fascial lines work is our muscles are connected through a sequence, right? So oftentimes we think when I train my bicep, it's being trained in isolation, but the muscle's never isolated. It's all brought together through this seamless network of fascial lines, right? So when we move forward with functional movement, we want to be thinking about how can we integrate movement. So that was what I was first exposed to when I got into massage therapy. And for many years, I kind of fell into the trends, the fitness trends, the CrossFit and some of even the more popular, what would you call it, rehab programs or prehab programs like ATG or knees over toes. I'm sure people have seen the programs all online, walking backwards with sleds. And even though it's a step in the right direction, it's still too oversimplified. So what I did was I wanted to step back and give people a little bit more insight on a deeper level as to how biomechanics works in terms of movement being, how can I explain this? Movement. Sorry, I'm having a hard time explaining myself.
I know, because you're so brilliant.
I might have to do this again. I feel like I'm lost.
That's okay. Let's get you back. Okay, well, every other system is kind of this, I don't know, generic system that oversimplifies things. And so you were sharing basically, I think that you wanted to include a lot more, which I know what you've taught me so far, but you're so far beyond that.
Right.
I don't know if that jogs your memory, but...
No, I'm back on track now. So initially when we did the movement blueprint, I'm back on track. I was kind of taking the same approach of trying to take joint mechanics and isolate them, which there's a time and a place for that. However, again, we know that movement isn't isolated. Everything is globally integrated through everything we do. So a perfect example is let me back up just a little bit. The big four that I now train to optimize both in myself and in clients, and this has been a total game changer over the past year. I've gone from chronic hip impingement problems to almost no pain now, moving restriction-free. And the big four we aim to focus on developing is standing, walking, running, and throwing. So if you look at human development, that is the evolution of movement, right? So we start from crawling around, then we get to our feet, we find balance, then we start reciprocating our arms and legs. That allows us to walk. Then the next progression would be throwing and running, or running and throwing.
Yeah.
So that is why we are designed the way we're designed as human beings, to be able to do those four movements. So what happens is when people start spending a bunch of time doing movements that are removed from their evolutionary biomechanics, you end up with dysfunction. And obviously we live in this modernized world that is totally detached from all of those movements, and people end up maladapting to those environments. So sitting for long periods of time, the hip flexors are going to get shortened. It's going to restrict your ability to open up your hips. Then people's gait cycles are all messed up. And again, that's like the primary thing we're designed to do is gait cycle, right? To walk. So the way I designed this program was to take everything that I know about massage therapy, about the fascial lines, and show people how to use their own self-myofascial release work to break down those adhesions. So a lot of people tend to get stuck in this loop of stretching. And the issue with stretching is it can help temporarily, but just like if I took a rope and I tied a knot in a rope, there's still going to be that knot in that rope no matter how hard I pull on it. So the adhesion is the knot, right? So if I get in there, I break that down. What I do is I get nutrients and I get hydration to that tissue, and I get the tissue working the way it should be working. So I show people how to break down all of those tissues based on the different fascial lines. So just to kind of give people a little bit of insight, and if you want, somebody can check this out later, but Google fascial lines, FASCIAL lines. So you can get like a visual representation of what that looks like. But to give you an example, the superficial back line starts above your eyebrow, goes up over the top of your head. This is called the epicranial fascia, comes all the way down the extensors of the back, down through the hamstrings, the calves, and underneath the toes into the plantar fascia. That's all one line. So I've broken down the modules so people are learning about those fascial lines and all the muscles that are associated with it. And so I show you that, and then I show core integration exercises. So the reason core integration is so important is because most people are stuck in an excessive posterior pelvic tilt or anterior pelvic tilt. So basically what that means is anterior pelvic tilt means, your tailbone sticking up, you've got this big curve in your lower back. And what that does is it distorts your entire posture. And some people will have an excessive posterior tilt. So it's the complete opposite, right? It looks like they don't have a butt. I don't know if you've ever seen people like that. It looks like they have like no lumbar spine. So what we want to do is we want to train people how to get a neutral lumbopelvic position. Because the way it works, and it's kind of interesting, just like in Chinese medicine, how there's always a duality, right? There's a yin and there's a yang. It's the same thing with the body, right? So when I generate power, it comes from the ground first, so the lower, and then it is transmitted to the upper. The lumbopelvic system is what allows us to generate power from the ground and seamlessly move it up into the upper part of the body. So when you're walking, and this is something that most people don't notice they're doing, I see it all the time because that's like what I do for a living, is I'll watch people walk, and what happens is when you hit the ground, especially if you're running or doing high impact movement, a pressure wave moves up through the body, and it's supposed to, if your fascia is healthy, it's supposed to distribute that force throughout the fascial lines, right? But what happens is people are unstable in their lumbopelvic hip complex, and they end up driving all of that impact into the sacrum, into the lower back, and that's why so many people have lower back pain. So
like a shock wave. It's like a
exactly.
That's how I picture it. Yeah.
Exactly. We want to distribute that force efficiently. So getting back to that's why I'm bringing that up, is because then there's a core integration set of modules where I just show you how to get the proper core strength and alignment so you can do that. Then the final aspect of the program are introduction to gait cycle. So we talked about standing, walking, running, and throwing. So the myofascial release work and learning how to improve your posture addresses the standing. Then we learn how to initiate gait cycle. And gait cycle is being able to reciprocate my arms and my legs back and forth like a pendulum, moving me through space. Mm-hmm. But many of us can't do that when we have myofascial restrictions that are pulling our skeletal structure out of alignment. So therefore, we end up creating all these overcompensations and moving dysfunctionally. So that's basically what the course covers. There's also a whole community aspect to it. So if people have questions, I can answer those in there. I can elaborate on things. So it's really like, that was kind of what I was going for, was like a community of people that are all learning together. And so anyway, I'll stop talking and let you ask the next question.
No, I love it. It's just so great because I think the only other thing I want to say, if you want to kind of pull up, if you wanted to walk people through what it looks like, it's like you go to the massage therapist and they're able to address one piece, but then you have to go to the massage therapist to get you back into alignment, but that only addresses one piece. But then it's like, actually you need a personal trainer to strengthen the core muscles to hold you in. And then it's like, but then you need a physical therapist to pull it all together. And I just love, in my own experience, it's like you bring all that together and make it accessible to me and empower me with the understanding of the mechanics and how my body feels, and just kind of it's almost like I gain the skills to be intuitive about it myself.
Right.
And I really love that. And I just say the price?
Yeah, of course.
I love that it's like 190, what is it, $99?
197, yeah. It's
197, which is amazing because well, you and I know that we've done this for like 10 grand. It's like how much money people save over their lifetimes of not having to go back to the massage therapist and go back to the chiropractor every week and do all of that is huge. So I really love your platform. And do you want to share it? Do you want to show it off?
Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to do a little share screen here. And this is what it looks like when you arrive at the link, which McCall will provide. And you can see here, I have the whole course curriculum that you can look into before you even purchase it. As you can see down here on the bottom right, I have over 72 lessons. All of these, the majority of these are going to be video lessons. And I recommend that people really do move through this incrementally, step by step, and try not to jump over things. I know there's a lot of people want to do that sort of thing because they get, anxious and they want to see what's ahead. But if you just follow this module by module, that's how I recommend you do this, and watch all of the content, because I put together, like here, the postural toolkit you can see is the first lesson here. I highly recommend watching all of that, because once you get done with it, the idea is to give you the tools. So the understanding, the fundamentals, so that way posture makes sense to you. But if you skip over that, you're not going to understand those fundamental concepts. So anyway, as you can see, you can just click on these little drop downs and you can see all of the content that's inside of there. But that is essentially it. And when you get inside here, you'll have access to the community where you can ask questions and connect with other people that are doing the program.
Yeah, which is so cool to have your expertise available like all the time. I don't even get it. It's very cool. And I know some people have asked me like, ooh, I just had hip surgery, or, oh, I have some special circumstance. And so I just want to let them know that, yes, you still work with people one-on-one now and then, and cater to those needs and help every person know how to navigate the site, which I really love. So I hope you guys check it out. I will post a link in the comments below, and you can always reach out to me and or Ryan with any questions. So,
and can I just say one last thing?
Yeah, of course.
So maybe you noticed, but the name of my business is Red Pill Fitness. I'm going to be pretty soon, again, rebranding just as the mission becomes more clear, into Red Pill Wellness. So if anybody's watched the movie The Matrix, so there's, the scene where he's offered the red pill, he takes the red pill and he goes down the rabbit hole and he can see beyond the Matrix. And the reason I resonate so deeply with that is because the Matrix, right? Like the false reality that's put in front of us are industries that are telling us that you need to move a particular way. And when that doesn't work, well, here we have all these exit strategies. We have pharmaceuticals, we have chiropractic, we have, we have massage, we have physical therapy. Now I'm also expanding, like I said, into wellness. So ultimately I want to work with people from a holistic approach in terms of like just behavioral patterns and just general nutrition type stuff like that. Because it all plays in, and a lot of what you do, right? Like it's, like if I'm eating like crap and physiologically I don't feel good, well, naturally I don't want to move, right? Like I just feel like crap. So, and not to mention all the systemic inflammation that's coming with that. Or even, even your social groups and your peers, are there people in your life that, want to stay out till 2-3 o'clock in the morning drinking? And those, so as you can see, everything's like interconnected. Yeah. And that's ultimately the kind of direction I want to take people in and I'm working on a new series of modules that are going to address, kind of walk people through little challenges, like, positive habit change challenges and nutrition and just different things like that to get people thinking outside of the scope of being fixed on movement exclusively. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I love it, Ryan. And I didn't introduce me, I introduced you, but just if any of you guys are new, I'm Mikala Barron, and I'm a functional medicine practitioner and a lot of other things. um, and so what I do is I help individuals who are totally overwhelmed with chronic illness or ongoing symptoms, and they're sucked into the matrix of, trying to manage their symptoms with all of these things. It's totally overwhelming in the holistic health world too, and the conventional model. And so I help simplify all of that, help them get to the root cause of why their body is not self-repairing, and give them a kind of a sanctuary of space to figure out what's not working and what's causing the system to be out of alignment, and addressing those pieces. We usually work with clients for 3 to 5 months is all before they're symptom free and doing well, and their lab tests are coming back normal, and really miraculous results. So if you have any questions on that as well, we love working with Ryan because the structural component is so key, as just general healthy living and nutrition and lifestyle principles. It's so important. So if you have any questions for us, that's what we do. And I'm so glad for Red Pill Fitness. And I'm kicking out the blueprint because this is way better. It's like super upgraded. So thanks, Ryan. Anything else before we let these guys go?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.